Joining us now, retired Army Major General James Spider Marks, who was the Senior Intelligence Officer for Operation Iraqi Freedom back in 2003. Always good to have you with us. Give us a sense this morning. Jim laid out a little bit of what's been going on. But what happens now from a security perspective? In your estimation, how safe is Iraq once U.S. troops leave?
Well, you know, up until the day that the president announced that we would be departing Iraq by the end of this month, the U.S. had been working very, very diligently on trying to establish what's known as a status of forces agreement, which would have been the single document immunity for soldiers on the ground so that the United States could stay beyond 2011. That failed. So the decision was made to leave. So I think the point is that Iraq has made some incredible advances in terms of their security forces and their military forces trying to secure their borders, but there are still a lot of sectarian type of violence and bad actors in Iraq. The U.S. has always provided a real glue over the course of these last couple of years to the Iraqi forces, both security and military, so that they can stand up, get more mature, and be ready to take on these challenges. So my point is Iraq is still a dangerous place. Iraq is in very good shape moving forward, but the U.S., bear in mind, the U.S. is still going to be very, very close. There will still be a U.S. presence in Kuwait, which is just south of the border with Iraq.
And there was talk yesterday from the Iraqi Prime Minister about the U.S. still having a role in training Iraqi forces. The expectation, as you just touched on a little bit, is that would happen outside of Iraq. You mentioned the U.S. as glue, but for the American people, there was a lot of debate over the way that this was worked out. Is there still going to be enough support in this country to support those efforts which are supporting Iraq?
Well, you know, I can't speak to domestic politics, but I can tell you that the United States has a friend in Iraq. Although Iraq didn't treat us like a friend, we could have walked into this discussion about a status of forces agreement and come out with a different conclusion. And the fact that the Prime Minister is asking, or at least has put on the table, the possibility that the U.S. could continue to do training for Iraqi forces indicates they understand how we can provide real value going forward. But these are discussions that are going to take place, and we're going to be very close to developments in Iraq.
Let me ask you, in terms of taking this U.S. Military presence, though, out of Iraq, what is the U.S. walking away from strategically in the region?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, Iraq has oil. Iraq has an extremely educated workforce. It has a history. It has a magnificent future. It now has a burgeoning and growing military. And it is a democracy in the middle of the Mideast. You don't see many of those. So, frankly, if you were to compare what we are doing in Iraq to what we were doing in Afghanistan, we're going to stay in Afghanistan until 2014, yet we're leaving Iraq right now. We have more to lose in Iraq than we do in Afghanistan.
Quite an assessment. Spider Marks, always good to have you with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.